9 wide receivers you need to be targeting in your fantasy football drafts. Let's get it. What is up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Tap. My name is Michael, and this is John and Brooks. How are you guys doing today?
Not too good today, Mike.
You look confused.
I'm not doing too good today. I'm
I know,
confused by how this day's gone.
Sorry to hear that.
It is.
Hope tomorrow's better.
It's a beautiful day. We're talking receivers. These are my favorite players. Let's talk about the ones that are winning your leagues.
Well, you didn't let Brooks say how he was doing.
I'm not done. I'm done now. It's your turn now, Brooks.
Do you do that with your girlfriend? Just like jump right in, don't even get to the foreplay. Just say boom. I do it. My wife will tell you that.
Baby,
I'm doing great. I'm fantastic. Mike, over to you.
All right, let's go. All right, John, you said you wanted to go first or no?
I think let's let you start it.
I'll start it.
Start it out.
I'll start it out. Boom. Wide receiver, numero uno that I am targeting. I like this player because it gives me a potential to start out running back. Like it potential. You know, his current ADP is 27.3. So in that beginning of the third round, if I have a higher pick, love that. Or just grab him in the second. I don't think it's a reach, depending on who's there. But that's going to be Keenan Allen, bro. Ooh. Keenan Allen. Really, John, you brought it up last episode, and I really like that point. The fact that that AFC West is stacked. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a ton of shootout games. That's 6 right there. Okay, finishes wide receiver 9 last year on an improved team coming into this year. Keenan Allen, bro, is just going to repeat, and you're getting him at currently wide receiver 12. So that's like a no-brainer to me. He's going to finish as a top 12 receiver, and he's got the upside to be a top 5. But probably finishing around what he did last year, 10-9, 10-8, somewhere around there. So getting him at a discount, a little bit of a discount, wide receiver 12. I love it.
All right. I like it too. I'm a big fan of Keenan Allen. I think he's incredibly talented, and the offense he is only going to continue to let him prosper with high target share or high total target volume. And then he's elusive enough and great route running to where he's able to make small plays, big plays. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, and if he can get in he's not a big end zone guy. He doesn't get in the end zone a ton.
Well, he's the one that gets you down the field.
Exactly. He's getting me yards. But if he can get, let's say he gets 8 to 10 touchdowns this year, it's going to, obviously push him up even higher. But like I said, that's his upside. So
okay. That's my boy, Sleevin' Allen. When it gets cold out, man, that man cannot be stopped. Puts on the sleeves. He's like a superhero. Love
monster. Absolute monster. So.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Brooks, let's go. Wide receiver, baby.
Okay, so my wide receiver that I want to talk about here, my first wide receiver out of 3 is going to be Michael Pittman from the Indianapolis Colts. I really like this receiver. And the reason being is because last season we finally saw him kind of like solidify himself as that number 1 reliable option over there in Indianapolis. And we really saw it.
Yeah.
Excuse me, he practically doubled. Not practically. He actually doubled his receiving yardage. I believe he had right around 500 yards in his rookie year. His second year, he jumped all the way up to 1,080, I believe, 1,081. And that's a pretty significant jump. And that's with Carson Wentz throwing you the ball. He's got, in my opinion, an improved quarterback coming in there, and Matt Ryan, who honestly has a chip on his shoulder. I feel like he's got something to prove, especially, after. Well, we're not going to talk about a Super Bowl, but and then the previous seasons before that in Atlanta, and all the problems with his team and Calvin Ridley not playing. It's okay because he has a fresh start and he has a beautiful wide receiver 1 to throw to, and that's Michael Pittman. And you can probably get him at a pretty juicy spot. The ADP that I was looking at right now, I'm not too sure if it's right. Mike, can we get an ADP check on Michael Pittman?
Wide receiver 14.
Yeah, see. I actually like that because I think that with Matt Ryan throwing the ball to him, he probably put up a top 10 receiving season. I don't know if that's a crazy take, but I honestly see it in the third year. And that would be pretty huge for him.
Yeah, I like Michael Pittman the player. My only concern with him is, can he be a true number one for the team, especially on a team with very little depth at wide receiver? Can he handle that constant, DB on the, number one corner on him? Because I mean, really in that offense, it's going to be Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman. Unless they sign, and I truly do think they sign a veteran wide receiver at some point. I really do.
Leo, coming to town.
Somebody that's free agent, TY even. I mean, it's not a great thing, but it gives them depth. So I mean, I am at wide receiver 14. There's some guys behind him that I kind of like a bit more, just in a little bit better position, not such a run heavy team, things like that. I'm going to have, by the time I come out with rankings and stuff like that, I'm probably going to have Michael Pittman around wide receiver 14, between 18 to 13, somewhere in there. So, and I do think he has tremendous upside, obviously, because he is the only wide receiver on his team other than like Alec Pierce, potentially Paris Campbell. Let's just
keep holding those fingers. Hey, question though, Mike. Michael Pittman or Jalen Waddle?
Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle. What if I told you Michael Pittman had more points per game than Jalen Waddle last season?
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And we're looking at him in a higher passing volume and did not have a number one receiver get signed over him.
Right. However, the thing is with Tyreek there, it's going to open up the game for Jalen Waddle. He's not going to have as many catches, but I do think he's going to have a lot more yards.
So let me bring up my receiver that I'm targeting in any draft that I am drafting at the back end. If he falls to me, hopefully I'm drafting before pick 8. I want CD Lamb in as many leagues as I can get into this season, without a doubt. Obviously, we know he's in a talented offense. We know Dak Prescott can air the ball out, and the guy likes to throw the ball 500 plus times a season. No, Amari Cooper this year has been kind of shedding people away from CeeDee Lamb and also bringing a lot of people towards the wagon with me. Last season, he did have 22% of that entire 20.4% of that entire offense, while Amari Cooper was able to hold 18.8% of it last season. Now, if we can see CeeDee Lamb take a small step forward in just total volume, which you can expect, meaning they didn't bring in a veteran receiver yet, which I do also think there might be a candidate to bring in another receiver, and only did bring in Jalen Tolbert. I think we see CeeDee Lamb excel in the touchdown department this year, which is something he hasn't really been able to be great at yet as early as the draft capital as he has been. Hasn't eclipsed 6 touchdowns yet in his career, and I do think we see that this year, along with his 120 plus targets that he's going to be getting from Dak Prescott. He could be the most targeted receiver in the league this year.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think he gets 150 plus targets.
I think it would be a mistake to walk away from someone who probably should be a top 3 receiver right now, currently going at wide receiver 8. So I am all over CeeDee Lamb right now.
Love CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, they finally have CeeDee Lamb in the position that they wanted to have him in. Now that Cooper's gone, when they drafted him, just take over that wide receiver 1 role and just ride it to the bank.
And the guy's still only 23, young 23, just turned 23 not too long ago.
It's wild.
Yeah, needs to be drafted really early in dynasty format.
Yeah, honestly, I've been, obviously we mock draft it, a lot because there's no football on. So getting a solid, if I can pair like a Jamar Chase or even like Devontae Adams and a CeeDee Lamb, if I'm picking like 12, dude, I'm going to do that all day long.
What I actually like about it, though, is you can grab CeeDee Lamb's going to wide receiver 8 right now, wide receiver 6, which is going to be putting him around pick like 11 to 15, maybe 10 to 15.
Yeah, his ADP is 12.8. So
you're looking at the back end of the first round. You can stack a Dalvin Cook and a CeeDee Lamb possibly, or a Joe Mixon and a CeeDee Lamb. get one huge running back out, grab one running back in your third round or fifth or sixth where there's still some talent there. You can build a great team around CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, definitely 100% agree. Like I said, I think his targets go up to 150 plus. Also, little side note, I do like Jalen Tolbert for the beginning of the season too. He's like going almost undrafted. So if you want a little sleeper there, but love CeeDee Lamb. So, all right, my next wide receiver, honestly, coming off of a horrible year, 38, I believe it was 38 targets or something like absolutely ridiculous. 66 targets, 38 catches. Absolutely ridiculous. One touchdown, finished wide receiver like 90. Okay. And that's going to be Allen Robinson going to a much better situation. Listen to this. Okay. Last year, and most people, the one thing about Allen Robinson that even shocked me, when you think of Allen Robinson, you think of a big guy who lines up outside that can go up and get the ball. However, he's one of the best jump ball guys in the game. However, in his career, he has lined up more in the slot every season than he has on the outside. Robert Woods was a wide receiver 12, the wide receiver 12 before he got hurt. There is plenty to go around in this offense. I'm not worried about Van Jefferson. He has Allen Robinson has one bad year. He's only 28, turning 29. I mean, he's getting older. He's past his prime. However, he still has it. I mean, we all made the mistake. You know, Allen Robinson was hot on everybody's list, blah, blah, blah. He was one of the top targets, like big, name wide receiver or free agent. I still think he has it in him. Now, if he goes, he's currently at wide receiver 23. If he goes any higher, then I would say wide receiver 17, I'm going to cool off on him at that point because I don't think the upside is there. I think still at wide receiver 23, I think there's still plenty of room for him to grow. But after he hits that wide receiver 18, 17 point, at that point, it's a little too rich for my blood. But right now, where he's currently going, love Allen Robinson.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I'm actually a believer in Allen Robinson. I know the other fella that's here with us today may not be on board with us, but nah, not quite. But I actually think he's going into a fantastic situation, probably the best situation of his career. And I'm excited to see what he's got in store for us, honestly.
Cooper Kupp's not getting 190 targets.
I don't think
160, 170, yes. He's not repeating 191 targets.
No, probably not. But that doesn't mean they're all going Allen Robinson. So let me explain why I don't dislike Allen Robinson.
Wait, you don't dislike Allen Robinson?
I don't
dislike. This is why you don't dislike Allen.
Wait, so you like Allen Robinson?
I like Allen Robinson, just not as a fantasy asset this year, especially where he's going right now. Just for me, as wide receiver 23 right now, I just cannot sign on. There's literally Amari Cooper right next to him, who is going to be a locked-in wide receiver one for his team. You've got Gabe Davis, who's got more upside than Allen Robinson. And my only problem with him is everyone talks about what he was, where he was, how great he was in Jacksonville. He had 2 good years in Chicago. But last year when they had Andy Dalton, Justin Fields, he had a bad year, and everyone wants to write it off because of the quarterback and, the low passing volume, blah, blah, blah. Darnell Mooney was able to be successful in the same offense, lined up at the exact same time next to him. Mm-hmm. Darnell Mooney was a receiver who got nothing but hype after his rookie year, 2 years before that. And so it wasn't someone who was getting written off by defenses and everyone was just stacking the box against Allen Robinson and making his day hard. I personally think Allen Robinson's, I'm not going to use the words washed because it's not that hard, but I don't think Allen Robinson today is better than Robert Woods was before the season last year. I really just think that you're looking at a wide receiver 40 this year, in my opinion. And the only problem for me is going to be touchdowns. If he gets a bunch of touchdowns, you're looking at someone like Mike Evans, who puts up consistent yards and because of just random touchdowns here and there, shoots up boards. But I just cannot sign off on Allen Robinson at wide receiver 23.
I've got 2 words, and then we'll pass it over to Brooks. Matt Nagy. All right, Brooks, let's go.
Oh, man.
All right. So the receiver that I'm going to bring up next, I'm going to bring up just this one football phrase, one football word. We all know it. It's the most important position, quarterbacks. And this receiver last year did not really have the best situation at quarterback, and that's Cortland Sutton, who is going to be receiving a way better situation at quarterback now that Russell Wilson's coming to town. I do think that if you're going to pick a receiver between Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy this year, I think you should go Cortland Sutton over Jerry Jeudy. One of the reasons being he's been there before. He's actually put up a monster year in the past where you actually, well, not really monster, but a very, very good year in the past, and kind of made you think that, this guy's got the potential to put up a good year. And then who can actually be, one of more of a higher end type of wide receiver 2 options. And you don't really need to invest that high of a pick in him. You can draft him, as a wide receiver 2. He will probably, in my opinion, even sport you some decent wide receiver 1 weeks with Russell Wilson being a quarterback. Now, you can look at the season last year, and again, just not a good offensive production standpoint in Denver. But he still managed to put up 776 yards. But the one thing that killed him in his fantasy production was the lack of touchdowns. He only scored 2. I think with Russell Wilson throwing you the ball, you're going to have a lot more opportunity for touchdowns for Cortland Sutton. And I would buy into that at his current ADP.
I like Cortland Sutton. I really want to monitor the Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton ADP going in, especially when we get closer to draft time, as we get camp hype and stuff like that. To be honest, what I'll probably do, because I do want a piece of this offense, I want one of the 2. It's probably going to be a Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp last year kind of thing, where not saying that one's going to finish as go off like he did. I'm just saying Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp were going so close in ADP. I was an idiot. I selected Robert Woods. Wasn't a bad pick. Wasn't a bad pick.
Sorry.
Wide receiver 12.
I will point out that before the season last year, you were, if you go back and actually, I'm pretty sure we have a video or a clip on it of Robert Woods or Allen Robinson before the season. You were on Cooper Kupp first. And
really?
think you were. I'll be honest with you, you were. And I think I convinced you to Robbie Woods because Cooper Kupp was going to – they were going right next to each other at one point.
Yeah, they're going really close.
Yeah.
But anyways, what I'm getting to is the fact that I'm probably – if I want a piece of that offense, I'm probably going to be taking the one that goes later. I think they're both very talented. But, Cortland Sutton at wide receiver 18, I think he gets that. He's very talented. Just needs to stay healthy. His situation literally just went from a fucking pile of dog shit to, whatever the opposite of a pile of dog shit is.
You won't be talking about Drew Money like that by week 4.
Yeah, I will.
I think we will. I think, especially if Drew Money doesn't make the field and is bench for Geno Smith, but to be determined.
I'm back on the Drew Lock train. Let's go.
Well,
all right, I'm going to kick him from this chat.
Denver wasn't the right fit, boys.
The system. The system is the problem. We'll see.
It can be, just wait.
Can be. Not in his situation, but it can be in another situation.
In another situation. But hey, Drew Lock, baby. What's that quarterback? 38, 39, 50?
Way down there. I think I'm being drafted higher than Drew Lock is currently.
There's a bunch of backups that are being drafted before
quarterback 33. Not mad about it.
All right, John. Who's your next wide receiver?
All right, so I would recommend drafting this guy before you draft Drew Lock, just to clear this up. But no, I actually think that you need to be drafting KJ Osborne, and I have no idea why he is sliding down draft boards as far as he is. According to Underdog right now, he is currently wide receiver total pick 150, wide receiver 66 off the board. Last year, and if you guys watch our TikToks at the Fantasy Tap, then you already know that KJ Osborne is someone that's being slept on because last season he was in an offense that is exactly the same as it is going into this year. You're still looking at Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen's still there, KJ Osborne at wide receiver 3, Dalvin Cook, Alexander Madison, and Kirk Cousins. Everything is exactly the same. And we're still looking at Adam Thielen, who just came off his first major injury of his career. KJ Osborne had 7 touchdowns last year, almost in consecutive weeks. This man is going to thrive as at least a top 50 wide receiver, and you're grafting him at wide receiver 66.
I love this pick. You want to hear something?
You can't go wrong with it. What? I feel like you're going to take the steam out of my sails.
No, I said I love it.
Oh, blow harder.
Oh, God. KJ Osborne and Adam Thielen had the same number of finishes wide receiver 24 or higher. 6, both of them.
Yes. It's a touchdown upside there in Minnesota.
A little bit of a passing of the torch, maybe, because they ain't passing JJ, but maybe you could pass Thielen.
Yeah.
There's a reason they didn't go out and sign a veteran and draft a receiver in a class that was full of solid wide receivers you could have taken in the 3rd, 4th round. It's because they understand, like, oh shit, okay, we've got JJ, we've got Thielen. Thielen's gonna walk soon. Let's use KJ for at least another year and see where we end up. We can take a receiver in the 2nd round next year. I think we see KJ finish as I'll comfortably say guaranteed within top 50 wide receivers, but I would comfortably say he finishes as a wide receiver 24 or better next year.
Wow. I think that's a little hot.
2022.
You think it's high?
I think it's a little hot. I do think. I mean, he finished wide receiver 39. So I think comfortably, I would say wide receiver 36 is a lock. Like wide receiver 36 or better is a lock. But that's a flex player though. That's the thing.
It is.
You're getting him so late. Like
literally your last round of your standard draft.
You're
or
locking,
undrafted.
You're literally locking in your flex player in your last round.
All right, so you got him as a top 25 receiver for next year, then.
Yeah. You want me to get really spicy with it and piss everyone off?
Oh, let's do it.
He finishes higher than Justin Jefferson or something.
Finishes higher than Allen Robinson.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. What are we betting?
Ooh.
You come up with the terms and I'll agree.
How about a friendly gentleman's wager?
We don't do
of
that.
$1 million.
Dude, this is not a gentleman show.
All right, fine. $1 million.
Oh man, let's see. I don't know.
Punch in the face? No, I'm just
Think
kidding.
about it.
We don't do violence here. No.
You'll have to come up here to get that accomplished.
Oh, I get it to both of you? I mean, I get 2.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
I would take that.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out,
All right.
and we'll update everybody next show. So.
Oh yeah.
My final wide receiver is, and I like it. Upside is, in my opinion, is tremendous. The wide receiver 1 for his team just left, has a top 8 quarterback, and that's going to be Allen Lazard, catching 8 touchdowns last year. Touchdown percentage is very high, 60 targets, 40 catches, 8 touchdowns. However, I do think that we're going to see him eclipse 1,000 yards. He's going to match that 8 touchdowns, 8 to 10. Somebody on this team, because I still think that Aaron Rodgers is a top 8 quarterback, fantasy wise. Somebody on this team is going to have to catch 10 or double-digit touchdowns. And I think if you look at it last year, Devontae Adams was the only one with double-digit touchdowns. Everybody had sprinkled in. I think we see a similar pattern where one receiver is going to catch double-digit touchdowns. I love Allen Lazard to do that. He's already caught 8. He already caught 8 last year. I don't think that Christian Watson is going to come in and just be this, their wide receiver 1 off the bat. I think we see him, potentially, get his feet wet in the league and, next year maybe take that over. But I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a comfortability with Allen Lazard. The only other guy there is Randall Cobb in his wide receiver core, like that was relatively highly used. And they also have Amari Rodgers. I'm not totally writing him off yet, but his tape didn't look too good last year. So I think Allen Lazard really takes over that number one spot. I think he gets comfortable. Aaron Rodgers is going to be comfortable with Allen Lazard, and I think we see him. I think we see him as a top 24 wide receiver. And with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's going to happen, just saying upside, wide receiver one potential with Rodgers at quarterback. And he's going wide receiver 43 currently, ADP of 94.6. Just in front of Kadarius Toney.
Value. I love it. There, like you're saying, there's someone is going to take over a strong role in that offense. MVS is gone. Randall Cobb's way too old.
He'll have like 5 touchdowns like last year.
He'll make some plays. That's what he's there for. Devontae Adams gone. Equinemius, I think, is still there.
He's on the Bears.
He's gone. He's gone. I mean, you've never seen Aaron Rodgers throw for more than 600 yards to a rookie receiver in his entirety of his career. And that's guys like Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson, and everyone else I just mentioned before this. You're not. Allen Lazard is going to be a huge recipient of all of those yards that Devontae Adams is leaving behind him. And it's going to come from big chunk plays as well as underneath routes. I absolutely, wide receiver 24, I would take him over KJ Osborne.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Brooks.
Oh, I was just gonna say I absolutely love Allen. I mean, we've talked about it on the show before. Love Allen Lazard. I think he's top 20 receiver potential. Actually, depending on how the season goes and how healthy he can be, he could actually creep towards, not break it, but creep towards the top 15 receiver role in this season.
Yeah,
I think it's totally realistic.
And there's a reason they put a second round tender on him.
Yes.
You said, and I'm pretty sure you said that in our Dynasty. He was one of your buys, I believe, in Dynasty.
Yeah, I can't stress that enough. You can't stress that enough. When a team does that to a player, that team has to believe in them. I don't know. I feel like that's too high of a draft pick to say, all right, cool. Like, hey, you guys have to give this up in order to. No, you can't. No.
And remember, the Packers didn't even draft a receiver until the second round this year. It wasn't like they went and grabbed a first-round receiver. No, they pissed off a lot of fans.
Yeah.
As per the usual routine in
those
draft
teams.
season.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. So, I mean, I love Lazard this year. I really do. Massive upside.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
All right, Brooks. Let's go.
Yes, it is my turn. So my last receiver that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to keep this pretty brief here just because I just like the upside. A lot of my picks are upside, guys, and that's going to be Elijah Moore, New York Jets. And one of the reasons that I'm doing that is because you're actually kind of slowly, not really right now, but I have a prediction. You're going to see Elijah Moore kind of slowly dip a little bit in ADP when you get more closer to draft time, just because there's going to be a lot of hype around a lot of the mouths to feed over there. Brees Hall as a running back, Garrett Wilson as the receiver that they drafted to be, an expectation is going to be a number one receiver there. But I really like Elijah Moore. Just in terms of a player, I'm not just being a homie Jets fan. There was this stretch last year when he actually started to really kick up. It was like early October to late December. When he went on a pretty nice stretch, I think it was like a 5 or 6 game stretch where he caught 34, 51 targets for 459 yards and 5 touchdowns. During that stretch, there was probably I believe he had no fewer than 6 targets when he went on that stretch as well. So, and that was during the rookie season. They're going to be spreading the ball, and he's established himself as Zach Wilson's top target from last season when he was on the field, and especially when Corey Davis was off the field. And I think he's going to have that role, and he's going to be primarily working out the slot, I believe. And I just love him for the upside this year, and I think he's going to dip when we get a little bit more closer to the draft.
Yeah, I like Elijah Moore. One of my favorite receivers, coming out of that class 2 years ago or whatever it is. So I like him. And he did, yeah. I mean, if you look, he only had 2 games that he played with less than 6 targets last year.
Yeah. So, I mean, something that I like to preach when it comes to fantasy football. I mean, some people may say, I know what I'm doing. I'm one of those people. But volume is key. And I think that someone like Elijah Moore, especially if he stays healthy, is just going to see a lot of volume. And that's mostly my argument for it. If he sees the volume, I think he's going to be very valuable, especially for where he's getting drafted.
Yeah.
And also the Jets got rid of Jamison Crowder in this offseason. We saw, I mean, how many targets you see come out of that slot position, and we could easily see more come out of the slot for Zach Wilson and just feed off of targets in general in volume. I like Elijah Moore a lot. I think he's going to be your team's number one receiver for multiple years, and I think you are looking at, if Zach Wilson works out, the ceiling's super high for him. If Zach Wilson works out to be a quarterback 1 this year, and you're talking about huge passing numbers for some reason, I think you could easily see Moore be that guy that you're putting up another 1,000-yard a year with some rushing upside. He's very elusive. He's very fast. You could see him make a lot of work out of the screenplays and stuff. Big fan.
Big fan.
Yeah, I will say that he did not have a 1,000-yard season last year because he did get hurt, but I think he will have one this year, especially if he remains healthy. Especially if he remains healthy. A lot of attention is going to be on a lot of other pieces, and I don't think he's going to get double covered because the Jets have other pieces on the offense that need to be worried about. So I'm pretty sure that we can see a very nice productive season from him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, John, let's go. Last guy.
All right, guys, everyone's favorite receiver who gets forgotten. Let's talk about Brandon Cooks and why he's going late in the rounds, wide receiver 29. Don't know why you guys are doing this. He's got Davis Mills back there with an absolute cannon.
And a long neck.
No, he's got a long neck, long. So, but let's talk about it. So everyone's worried about Brandon Cooks in the quarterback situation. Throughout the entirety of his career, he just had this season where he posted the 3rd highest points per game in a fantasy aspect. It's with Davis Mills versus Deshaun Watson. Oh, and a little bit of Jared Goff in there too. Sorry. And some Drew Brees and everything else. But going through the quarterback situations, you're looking at situations where he's had competent quarterbacks and he's playing on a terrible team, terrible defense, terrible offensive line, and they're going to be playing from behind from a majority of games this year. You're going to be seeing them maybe not passing in huge volumes, but you're going to see them having to take your big chunk plays, not so much these small ones. He was someone that was averaging 11.5 yards per reception last year, broke 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns, which is the 3rd highest of his career as well. I think we're going to see Brandon Cooks slide right through. A little bit more touchdowns this year with a little bit more help on his offensive line and another year under Mills' belt. If not, we'll go back to the backup. Brandon Cooks is going to just thrive off volume, and I think that you're talking about someone who you can grab to be a confident guy that finishes with a couple wide receiver 1 weeks and some wide receiver 2s. Yeah,
I 100% agree. I actually Brandon Cooks was going to be one of my guys, and then I ended up going with Lazard. But
we can swap. I'm down for it.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
That answers my next question of who John thinks is a better pick there.
I'd rather take Lazard later than Cooks earlier.
Yeah.
But
I'll take the upside on both.
Yeah, I mean, Cooks is always underrated. He's only look at his career, bro. 2 years, his rookie year, and then 2019 when he played 14 games and just was on the Rams when Jared Goff was tanking, and I mean, he's finished as a wide receiver 20 or better. I mean, last year, outside of those 2 years, last year was his worst year on paper, and fantasy wise. And I don't see why we don't see a repeat of last year.
Yes,
I'm not a big Nico Collins guy.
Me neither. And I mean, Brandon Cooks is just a consistent 1,000-yard receiver dropper. Yeah. I mean, he just drops that number like it's like, yeah, I don't need to explain. He's a very good receiver. He's very underrated.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that slow year against the Rams, I mean, we'd be talking like Mike Evans here. Just saying.
I mean, why not? Sure, why not? Mike Evans is gonna have a good year though.
Okay, let's put this. Yes, Mike Evans had seven consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. Brandon Cooks put up more yards in those 7 years.
You're really stuck on that. That's like your go-to stat to talk about Mike Evans.
Stat. I hate it.
Brooks says Mike Evans is fine.
Mike Evans clearly has 1,000 receiving yards bonus in his contract for every single year. That is why we see him barely eclipse that number. They're like by week 16, 17 or 17, 18. They're like, hey, dude, let me get this 350 grand. Just
he gets a lot of touchdowns though.
Without Godwin at the beginning of the year, though, bro, he's gonna pop off.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody. Those are our 9 wide receivers you need to be targeting in your fantasy football drafts at their current ADP. Thanks so much for tuning in. Wow, there's like an echo in here.
Echo.
Appreciate it, guys.
Echo. Oh yeah, appreciate everything. And if you've made it this far, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, then I don't know what you're doing at this point. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell, just so you know when we drop content, because you're totally going to want to see more of our pretty faces.
Follow us on TikTok.
On the TikTok, the YouTubes, and the Instagram.
All of it.
Oh yes, and definitely check out our Twitter as well. All the socials. It's Fantasy Tab wherever you check it.
Yes. Yeah. So, all right, guys. We'll see you later.
All right.